Hi, and welcome to Mile High Homeschool. My name is Megan, and welcome here today. Happy New Year. So today's video is actually going to be part of an open homeschool collaboration put together by Abby from Rooted in Rest and Jessica over at the Waldock Way. And if you haven't checked out their sites yet, please do. They have a wealth of homeschool information. I love their videos. They put out so many things that are helpful to me, and I'm sure would be really helpful to you. So today we're going to talk about planning. It's a teacher planning video, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the kinds of planners that I use and how I use each one, and then just kind of my approach and philosophy toward planning, and hopefully you'll get some good tips and things that'll help you out along the way. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to show you guys is this planner, which is my big picture brain dump planner. So I am very much a pen and paper girl. I don't like to try to keep track of everything on my phone or on a computer, or I realize the efficiency and wonderfulness of things like Evernote or Google Docs or that kind of thing, but I'm not that person. I'm a pen and paper kind of girl. I love having one spot where I can put all my plans on, like homeschooling and curriculum and that kind of stuff. And so that's what this is. So it's really just a big disc planner that I put together. And it literally, as you can see, I have brain dump, curriculum thoughts. This one says mom and teacher growth. And then I think my last tab is conference notes and talks. And so I literally just, anytime I find something that I'm curious about or that I want to look into, I just start writing things down of like life skills I want my kids to learn, or what its state law requirements are in Colorado, that where we are. A lot of extra notes as well, or like preschool concepts, because I started this back when my oldest, who's now in first grade, back when I was like looking at preschool for her, because I love researching. I don't know if you guys are like that. I love to just dig into things and find out info, like a book list from one of my favorite companies. And so then I went and highlighted the ones that we have, and then I can see others. Or I love the YWAM books that they have of ones that we own. I put stars next to versus ones that they have. And then they've got Heroes of History. So I did the same thing of, okay, I can keep track of it. It's all in one spot. Cards from companies from homeschool conferences, ideas, notes, looping ideas, that kind of thing. And then, like I said, stuff for me, like my thought process when it comes to choosing a new curriculum or different teaching styles or books to read and that kind of thing. And then even notes from like homeschool conferences and online seminars and stuff that I've watched. I love taking notes, and so just doing what I can. And I actually have a hole punch that is a disc hole punch, and that works really well for being able to take notes anywhere, and then I can just add them into here as I want. And so that's why this is so hefty, because I just keep adding to it and adding to it. Like, I'm sure someday I'll take some things out, but for right now, it's just a really big picture one that I put a ton of notes into. And then whenever I go to plan the next year or something like that, I can come back to this and be like, hey, what did I write down about second grade? Or I feel like I put something about some kind of history or science program. Where did I put that note? And a lot of times I don't necessarily have this on me, but if I have like a sticky note or even just a scratch pad of paper, I'll write it on that, and then I'll come back when I'm cleaning out my purse and tape that into this book. So that way I can keep track of all of the like more big picture, long-term thinking ideas, homeschool ideas that I just don't want to miss. This planner here is actually our main homeschool planner. And so it's actually just a dotted style notebook that I found on Amazon. And I just kind of did a bullet journal style, which I'll show you once I get inside. But a big part of the reason why I chose like a bullet journal style was because since we are just in first grade right now, I didn't really want to commit a whole bunch of money onto some big, hefty, customizable, really cool planner. I'll be real, I totally have planner envy when I see people with their plum paper planners or their Anavance planners, and I'm like, oh my gosh, those look so cool. But for me, I just didn't feel like it was a practical choice to make that kind of a monetary investment right now when we just have one kid, and especially when I don't really know 100% what my planning style is. I don't know how much space I need or how much detail or that kind of thing. And I'm sure it'll change as we go forward. But for right now, I just didn't really want to make a big investment on something that I wasn't really going to use. So with this one at the front, I put a couple different quotes that I liked. One from G.K. Chesterton, which is really fun. And then the other one, I put like our mission statement and our vision statement for my homeschool. And a big part of the reason why I did that was because I wanted to have that focus for me each time I opened up my planner to remind me of what we're doing and to help me make those decisions. Because I find with homeschooling, it's really easy to get lost in the weeds on shiny curriculum or the opinions of your in-laws or the opinions of your own family or what your friend is doing in co-op. And to have just a more mission and vision statement really helps clarify and focus in on my decisions of why I'm choosing this curriculum, why we chose to homeschool, and even things of like, are we going to be a part of this field trip? Are we going to be a part of that group? Do we need to be involved in that extracurricular activity? And to just really narrow it down for us. So a couple other things I put in there, a key, which I haven't really used, a big picture planner. So this year and looking into next year, what school would potentially look like with school days and breaks. Important days, there are some, but I haven't put any on there. So with this section, I did some terms at a glance. And so I can kind of plan out when we're going on vacation, like here at Thanksgiving, and we're going to take those days off, that kind of stuff. So I had an idea of what days off would look like within the term. And then I had initially done this looking ahead page to help me remember stuff, but I found I just wasn't using it very much. Then this page here is actually like an attendance tracker, and I tried to do it two different ways because I'm, once again, trying to figure out what I like. Of one, I wrote out each month, and then the crosshatch days are the days that are weekends. And so then I'm just filling in like when we ended up taking vacation, and this part I'm actually reverse planning with. So if there was a day when we were sick or out of town or needed to take care of family or something like that, I go ahead and fill it in on here. Or like these non-classroom days that you can see are like field trips that we took, but some of them we ended up taking on the weekend. And so I wanted to count those. And then in Colorado, you have to have 172 days of school. So I just did a box of 172 days, and I need to update it because we've done more than 83 at this point in time. But then I just like cross out as we go to see, okay, like it's not a big deal if we take a day off because there's only this many days left. Yeah, I know. And so I really liked both of these. I don't know how I'll continue them in future planners, but I did really like both of these as well. One of the things I did that I loved the most, more so than trying to track lessons or anything like that, was I wrote down an ideal of like, okay, this is what, and granted this was at the beginning of the year and it's changed since then, but I wrote down, okay, this is about how much time I want to spend on each thing, where each thing falls, and the max amount of time I want to spend on it. The idea is not necessarily to have school drag on for hours and hours and hours every single day, but instead to be like, okay, this is how much time it takes. Am I loading too much on certain days? Am I not doing enough on certain days? And you can see down here, I wrote these things as reminders to myself of these are maximums, not minimums, consistency over quantity, keep the love of learning alive, hour and a half a day, tops. And so thankfully we've been able to stick pretty well to that. The only thing that's really changed has been on Friday. We don't do handicraft, literature, or nature study. Instead, Fridays, we still do our scripture memory, math, and our English, but then the rest of the stuff is just a fun Friday. And so our co-op day is actually on a Friday once a month. We have another activity that we go to for my youngest son that's on Fridays once a month. And then the other Fridays I filled in with like, okay, we'll play a board game together or bake something together or that kind of thing, have a tea party, like do something to keep it light. A couple of different pages in here, I went ahead and mapped out what the lessons looked like for different curriculum. And I thought it would be really helpful to be like, oh, look, I went through and checked it all off and I did this. But I found it was just one more thing to track, and I didn't like it as much as I thought it would. So that has not been as helpful. But once again, it's helpful for me to know that now, because then I'm less likely to buy a planner with a designated spot for that in the future. And so I'd rather customize something like this that I can just fill in and customize, as opposed to spend money on something and be like, oh no, this was a total waste. So as I'm sure you saw, we plan in 6-week terms, and so is how we do our school. So I tried to map out like the full 6 weeks on one page instead of like just a monthly calendar. So I did the full 6 weeks so I could fill it in. And I did this initially but then I haven't done it every term since. So once again, one of those things, didn't use this as much as I thought I would, maybe in the future, but with one kid, it wasn't as necessary for me. So this is a look at what our lesson plan looks like for the next couple of weeks here. You can see we're going back to school on the 8th, and I went ahead and wrote out kind of the things that we've changed. So like I said, we've got our activity day, or our co-op day is one Friday. Enchanted Forest is a board game we like to play that we're going to do. And then I just draw it all out with a pen and a ruler, or on these pages, you can tell I was not doing it with a ruler because the lines are definitely not straight. But then I just go ahead and fill in what we're doing in each time block. And it's not necessarily that there's specific time, but I try to leave space so I have things to write everything that I need to. So for instance, we start each day with scripture memory, and we're just using the Simply Charlotte Mason method for scripture memory with that. And then we alternate whether we're doing math or sign language throughout the week. And then our enrichment studies, I just kind of have those on a rotation because I didn't want to try to pack too much into every single day. So we rotate through artist study and hymn study, and then poetry, and then we do a hymn again because I like doing those and she likes doing those, and then we do a composer study, and they're all really basic. I don't think any of them take longer than like 5 or 10 minutes. Scripture memory is like a 5 or 10 minute thing. Math and ASL is 10 to 15 minutes depending on the lesson or what we're doing. Then it switches into English, which is probably our most intense subject of all the things we're doing. And for that, we're doing Logic of English, and I'll do a video about that later. I don't feel like there's a ton of YouTube representation on Logic of English, so I want to make sure to cover that because we've really enjoyed it. And we do that, and that's 15 to 20, which is about the longest amount of time I like to spend on any subject. And then it switches into history, which we're doing Story of the World right now. Then we go into science. We're doing Noeo Science, and I'll do a video on them as well. And then we just do some read-alouds together. And our read-aloud right now is Little Pilgrim's Progress. It's adorable, and I love it. Yeah, really like what's working well for us so far right now. And so this is our main homeschool planner. Now, there is something that I've decided to change for the new year, and I'm going to show you guys, and we'll see how it works because it is very much an experimental process. Okay, so this is the new thing that I'm trying that fingers crossed will work well. Talking about, rather than have multiple planners for multiple parts of your life, have one planner for everything. And like I said, I'm a pen and paper girl. I don't like doing stuff on my phone. And I had some things in my phone, some things on the homeschool planner, a different planner that I tried to use for life, a different thing that I tried to do for meal planning and cleaning and that kind of stuff. And I was like, this isn't working. We need a solution. So this year I am trying a planner that is one planner for all the things, one planner to rule them all. So I will keep you posted on how it goes. But the front I like because it just has some pockets and stuff. And it does have this coil binding, which I like them because then they lay flat. I can fold over the edge and that kind of thing. But also with my disc punch that I have for my big picture planner, I can actually kind of make it work to where I can add pages into this, which I really like. And this was just like a cheap $20 planner from Target or something. It was not anything fancy. And so I've liked it because I've been able to add to it, which I like. And it's got this great pocket in the front. So I put stickers and extra pages and that kind of thing in there. Like, okay, this is my rotating meal plan, my cleaning schedule, that kind of thing, just to help keep myself focused there. I created this time map because I want to be able to keep an idea. It's one thing to just plan your days, I feel like, and say, oh, I'm going to do this at this time. But then it's a totally different level of accountability when you're actually writing out what you're doing. And so I just wrote this on paper and then laminated it so it's dry erase. You can see kind of the funky colors on it already. And then I just go ahead and write in what I actually did with that time. I've got some really fine point dry erase markers because then that gives me a good idea. Am I putting too much on a certain day? Am I overloading my to-do list? Am I underestimating how much time I'm spending on certain tasks? And really just helps me have a better grasp on what my day-to-day is actually going to look like. So that was good. And then it still has the big monthly thing so I can plan in like when the kids are at Awanas and when we've got our homeschool days and that kind of stuff. But then for the day-to-day, I've put in here I changed this section to what school is. And so I've been copying out from my big homeschool planner what we're doing that day for school. And then I also have what I'm doing for cleaning with the house that day, and then what's for meals. And then each night, the night before, I'm going to plan on filling in this schedule. And I'm also going to keep a to-do list and that kind of stuff. And I like it because there's a gratitude section, notes for that evening, as well as spaces up here. So like my sister's coming to drop something off, actually the day this video goes up. So up here, I just wrote, hey, she's stopping by to drop this off. Don't forget to get this, that kind of thing. It's not necessarily a to-do list, but it's something that affects my schedule, but I don't know when she's coming, so I can't pencil it in, but I want it there, you know? And so I like the amount of space that I have in this to do things, and even to write notes of things I'm researching, to like, hey, this is what this was, or this is what we had talked about, and have one spot to write that down. So then when I go back through at the end of the day and review my planner, I can see that and remember it and add it to my commonplace book or to my big picture planner or that kind of thing as needed. So I will keep you guys posted though on how it goes having the daily planner, because I really like my big picture planner. I really like my main homeschool planner because it gives me a good layout to see everything all at once of how we're progressing through things. But I also like having it in this, I think. So sorry for the lighting change and angle change. My camera died before I could finish the video, so I had to recharge and come back a little bit later today. But the last couple thoughts I wanted to share with you guys on your planners is find one that just works for you. I realize I have a lot of planners that I use. You don't have to have a bunch of planners. It's okay. You also don't have to have the perfect planner. You might start one and it doesn't work out and you need to change midway through, and that's okay. Nobody's gonna judge you. Don't feel guilty about it. Take the time to find what works for you. It's okay. One thing that my grandpa always used to say is God gives us steering wheels because we get lost. And I say God gives us erasable pens because the plan changes. So I love using erasable pens and pencils and that kind of thing in my planner, because a lot of times I will make a plan and the plan will get changed by someone else, and that's okay. So have that flexibility in your planner. Give yourself some margin. Don't try to cram your day so full. Don't make your to-do list so long that it's never going to get accomplished. That's a big part of the reason why I have that time map that I showed you guys, is because I want to make sure that I'm not overloading my plate and then constantly feeling defeated because I have unrealistic expectations of my day. So give yourself some flexibility, be willing to let the plan change. It's okay. And really just take the time to find a planner that works for you. It's okay. I feel like every planner is personal, and no two planners are going to look the same, just like no two homeschools are going to look the same. And that's all right. It's okay to take your time and make it yours, customize it, make it beautiful, something you want to use, something you want to look at. And like I said, it doesn't even have to be fancy. Mine is literally just a notebook, and I'm drawing it out with a pen and a ruler to make it customizable for me. And even then, there's things that I want to change in it, and that's okay. That's how it works. One thing that I always like to make sure every planner I have has in it is big picture, because while I have my big picture planner, I also in just my day-to-day have my like long-term goals for the year in it. Not necessarily because I'm a big like goal setting person, but just because it helps give me really good perspective of, is this thing that I'm stressing about really that important? Is it something that's tied to my big picture? Is it something that's going to affect or change my big picture? Or is this just a distraction that I'm using to procrastinate from what actually matters? So it's a good litmus test for me as to what I'm filling my days with, if it's actually going to get me where I want to go, that kind of thing. So I think that might be really helpful for you guys too. I hope this video was encouraging. I hope that you came away with some good ideas and some thoughts as you're moving forward with your planners and stuff. Good luck this year. I'm sure it'll turn out great. And if it doesn't, it's okay. Be sure to check out the rest of the playlist that Abby from Rooted in Rest and Jessica from the Waldock Way put together. There's tons of great videos on there. Everything from meal planning to homeschool planning, weekly planning, that kind of stuff. So lots of great resources on that list. Make sure you take a look at that. And best of luck this year, moms. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks. See you next time.